Hello and welcome to our product launch. We are grateful that so many of you have decided to take the time to join us today. And the team and I are very excited to show you what we've been working on for quite some time now. And I really hope that you'll find the new features in Fynd CORE interesting. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bjørn Morten, and I'm the commercial officer in Fynd Reality. I got back from paternity leave on Monday, and my daughter started in kindergarten this week also. So please bear with me when I start coughing. I got a bit of a cold. Also, a little bit of practical information before we get cracking. If you have any questions today, please use the Q&A function. It's located in the top menu in Teams. There's a button labeled Q&A. And we'll get back to you with answers on your questions by the end of this session. And this webinar is being recorded, so we'll make sure to send you the recording afterwards so that you can enjoy the whole thing over and over again as many times as you like. And I thought that I'd just do a quick recap on the agenda. The main focus today will, of course, be the product demo and trying to put the technology into the right context for you. We'll do a quick presentation of the company. I'll see that there are some new faces today, although many of you know us already. After we have done the product demo, we'll move on to some practical information regarding help resources, distributions, and so on. And lastly, we will have a quick look on the road ahead for Fynd Reality and for the platform. So with me today, I have Ole Midthun. He's one of our eminent software developers. By day, he's a developer here in Fynd, and by night, he tries to save the environment. So good luck with that, Ole. But we are rooting for you. And Christine Kvam is our CTO. She's the only CTO that I know who prefers writing with fountain pens on paper over using computers, like most normal human beings would do in 2023. Okay, so a short introduction then. So who are we? We are a company dedicated to helping our customers accelerate learning and increase productivity. And we do so by using XR technology, AR, VR, and MR. We are 18 employees. We have a little bit over 40 customers and partners. I'll get back to those a bit later. We're proud to say that we're all located here in Hamar, Norway. And we never found a platform that would do what our customers needed, so we decided to build our own. And this gives us full control over the development of the product, and it also enables us to be customer centric in what we do. We use Microsoft Azure for synchronization of data and storage. So we are pretty confident in the scalability of the platform. And we also know that we deliver very secure solutions, which is important in these times, of course. And with the help of Microsoft in the backend, we are proud to say that we are available worldwide. So you can actually collaborate across continents, and that is not a given in the XR industry. We feel very privileged to be working with customers such as NATO, the Inland University, and Daikin, to mention a few. And the platform is, of course, a consequence of the input from our customers. We work with organizations ranging from defense and security to education and industry, and this means that we have to handle a lot of different use cases on our platform. So Fynd CORE provides a wide range of training solutions. Some use CORE for individual skills training, such as procedure training. Others use it for virtual collaboration and training decision making. And The wide range of use cases that we have been working with has given us a lot of know-how on how to utilize the XR technology in the best possible way, which I also think is very important to bear in mind when we develop our products. And I just want to emphasize that we do not use XR technology for the sake of XR technology. We use it to help our customers accelerate learning and increase productivity. That is the main goal for us. And that was the quick introduction to Fynd. And now I'll turn the microphone over to Christine for a quick history lesson. She will take a historical look on the company and the platform. She's been with us since the very beginning, so no one is better suited to give you this lecture than she is. So please take it away, Christine.
Thank you very much. By no means am I going to give you a lecture. I'm just going to give you a bit of perspective. So my name is Christina. I'm the CTO of Fynd Reality. And as Bjørn Morten said, I've been with Fynd since the beginning of the company. And I'm just here to add some context and some perspective to the product that we are launching today. So we started making collaboration solutions in 2017, and we started with the coolest new tech available at the time, which was the Microsoft HoloLens. The goal at the time was to create a tool for situational awareness training, for crisis management, and for preparedness, where students and teachers could gather even if they were not physically together. And we continued development of this software by adding PC, Mac, virtual reality, mobile, tablet support into the mix as well. So with this update to the software, we suddenly had a lot of exciting use cases. And we went on to develop a lot of projects for different clients, all of those shown by Bjørn Morten earlier. But keeping all of these projects updated became quite a big job for us in the end. So we spent the downtime during the early stages of COVID specifically to solidify our focus to accelerate learning and increase productivity for our customers and partners. So some amazing projects later, we've used all the snags, all of the bugs, and all the issues that we've encountered so far to create one platform to cater to all the training and education needs that we've seen so far. So let's take a look.
Thank you very much. Before we let Ole start the demo, I just want to touch upon why we use XR technology. And like Christine is saying, we have seen during the last year that this does work. And it's safe to say that we have been around the block a couple of times, and we have gained some first-hand experience on how to implement it as well. We know that the research says that XR technology it saves time. You learn up to 4 times faster. It improves retention, so you'll remember. There's a 16 times more likely to recall the information that you receive. It increases engagement, which is very important. It's always tough, I think, to remember all the information you get from, let's say, a webinar or other e-learning platforms. And we know that it saves money and enhances safety because of the effectiveness of the training. So the big question then is, why do people still use traditional learning methods if XR technology is so great? And even though I am in charge of sales here, I would feel guilty if I were to say that XR technology is a silver bullet that solves everything, because unfortunately it doesn't. So and we also know a thing or two about what doesn't work. So so I thought I'd shed some light on that as well. We know that traditionally building the training experiences have been expensive, and it's been difficult to customize the solution after it's built the first time. So it used to be very rigid. And of course, it's new and unknown technology. It's a completely new platform, even with VR, if that's what you're using. And implementation of new technology is often or always quite painful. And we've also seen that the logistics and the use in scale of these types of solutions have been difficult to manage, because usually you would get one application per use case. So let's say that you want to train on 3 different procedures, then you would have 3 different applications. And when you multiply that with the amount of devices that are to be available for training, you pretty quickly run into a quite complex situation in terms of running it and maintaining it in the organization. We have done our best, of course, to tackle some of these issues with the new version of the platform, and I think Ole will show you how in practice in a couple of seconds. But first off, a little bit about the platform, and then I'll introduce you to a use case. We are going to give Ole a concrete use case that he's going to solve during the demo. So we have set out to build a platform that caters many use cases, participants from all over the world, and also we want the participant to be able to join the sessions from any device. So we combine VR glasses, computers, and mobile in the same session, and this makes the introduction to the technology and the availability of training a lot easier, I would say. So it was not a small task that the developers in Fynd Reality had to undertake, but I think they fared very well. And in order to set the scene for Ole and to make the demo as concrete as possible, we will task him with making a decision training solution for firefighters. And we know that using VR for decision training is very effective. You get immersed in a realistic environment, and you have to make decisions based on what you see and hear, and you have to read the situations and make a decision based on what is actually happening. And basically, a training solution like this is based on a virtual environment. Could be a map, a room, or a burning building. Then you'll have objects, and that could be cars, chairs, or fire, or sound, or whatever. And then we have some kind of system scenario builder that will also show you that connects all these things together. So then, Ole, I'll leave it to you to show them what we have been working on.
Thank you very much. Like Morten says, my name is Ole, and I have been working at Fynd Reality as a developer since 2018, when we started production of the very beginning of Core. Throughout these years, I've been working on a lot of different projects, and it's been a great pleasure. And I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of our partners and clients, which has been especially useful because I've been able to listen to their wishes and their needs. So I thought that before we jump into Core, let's do a little primer for those of you who are less familiar with 3D based applications. There is a bit of a generational gap with people used to playing games or interacting with 3-dimensional applications. A lot of our users that are closer to my age more intuitively interact with programs like Core. But it's important for us to remember that not everyone has this kind of base knowledge that we working with this do. So on this illustration, it's our virtual medical room that we have developed for a training scenario. And we have some labels here. So label 1 is just in the background, and that's precisely it. We're talking about the environment, and in this case, that means the virtual environment that you see around you. Every session in Core is based in a location, whether it's something abstract or whether it's something very concrete. In this case, a room with all these shelves. And this is where you move around and you see other people in this room. Label 2 is the avatar, and this is how you present yourself and you see the other users as well. We can't bring you as a person fully into Core, not yet anyway. So we have the option to use avatars to present yourself, decide on how you're looking, and this way get that immersion of being in the same room with a physical presence, just like in real life. Label number 3 is on the box, and as you can see, the user here is holding the box in her hand, and that is because this is an interactive objects, and this makes up the last building block of Core. It's the interactive objects that you can move around and interact with in the environment. In this case, with the medical room, it's a whole lot of pillboxes and some equipment, some shelves and some doors that you can move around, and these are different from the environment because they react to the users. And they can also be animated and act on their own in some cases. So that's a bit of a glossary for how the foundations of Core are built. So what I would like to do is jump into Core from the moment you open it up. We've had several years to work on our user interface, and that has given us multiple years as well of testing and research with our users. And one of our biggest challenges when developing has always been that we have a lot of users with very little experience with games or 3D, and even less experience with VR. And that's why we want to bring the bar as low as possible to take this program into use. So that's our challenge, is taking the complex material of a VR application, a 3D application, and the functionality of Core to build complex training and training scenarios, making that understandable and approachable for users without any experience in this. And our new UI is a big step towards that goal, designed to be both simple and powerful. We developed our custom UI architecture ourselves to make it easier for us to rapidly prototype and iterate on the look and feel of the program, and as well to make the same framework possible for use in VR, desktop, and on mobile. And this multi-platform element is critical. And it's important because it bridges the gap between familiar platforms, like a mobile app that everyone knows. And then when you get into VR, a new and scary platform, you recognize how the menu looks and works. And this is one way for us to make the transition into VR more easy. So I'll share my screen and I'll show you a view of Core. This is the first window that appears when you open Core. What we want to do is by all means, we don't want to overwhelm the user with too many options. So that's why if you're brand new, you just want to jump into a session with your teacher, with anyone else, then everything you need is right here. You just enter the PIN code and you enter your name and join. For advanced users, you go into the login and you can set up sessions and so on, but that's not necessary for us to show today. So I have the code copied. I'll just paste this in here and I'll join as muted because my audio is on Teams, and I'll press join session. I'll enter my name and I'll click next. And here we can see the environment loading in, and here are some of my colleagues already in the session showing how people are presented within Core, and we have a scene set up. So here we have a map that we have made of the city of Hamar, where our offices are located. And we have set up a simple scenario with a forest fire in an area, a very densely populated area, close to the hospital, close to the school. This is one training scenario that is relevant for us for certain projects. So what you're seeing around you here is that the UI takes minimal space. It's located all around the edges and the corners, and that's because the virtual content is the bread and butter of Core. So let's start opening some menus. First off, we can see we have a few people here, and up here in the top left, we can see there are 8 people in this session. There's me at the top, and then we have a list beneath of all the other people inside the session. Here we can see all the users. We can see the code that I just used to join this session if I want to share this to other people. I can change my name here. Anyone can change the name, and you also have the option to mute yourself like I did, and also to see whether other people are muted, and mute everyone if you're in a very noisy group. In some cases, like in a classroom setting, we do want to have options for a teacher to take control and know that they're able to keep things under control. Secondly, I want to show the language settings, and this is something that we have been working on with a transition to our own UI system. So when I change this to Japanese, there's no text displayed at the moment, but if I open one of the menus, we can see how all the menus are translated, and this setup allows us to very easily customize the language setup, and it's individual for each user, so that whenever someone changes, you can have the program in the language you want, and this makes operating across languages way easier. But I'll leave it in English because I don't know Japanese. Next, down here is the avatar menu. This is a list of predefined avatars that we have selected, and this determines how others see you in the scene. So when we were looking earlier, we can see how some of these people look. We have some presets here, like I say, that we have set up, but we're also working on a customization menu where you can customize hair color, skin color, all of those things. And in addition to that, we also have some avatars that are closely tied to projects we have done. For example, down here, we have some avatars that are related to NATO projects that we have done. And we also have some projects, some avatars related to the Bergen Fire Department. So I'll just use this one because it looks very proper when working with a case like a forest fire. Next, let's see how we can change what's happening inside of Core. So on the left here, we have the environments tab. This allows us to choose between different environments, the things that we see around us. So we see here we have many different maps. When I scroll down, we also have a 3D scan of a construction site. We have a tunnel that we'll see later. And we have a few different options. This is just a list of available environments, and these can be custom made for specific scenarios, or they can be more generic, like a meeting room or a mountaintop or whatever it is you like. The last building block that we looked at in the illustration is the virtual objects. And this is located in the object library. We can see here we have a few categories available right now. And in this case, I have a whole bunch of different vehicles, and it's easy for me to just click one, get it out here in the scene, and then I'll just press P to just project it down here. And now we have added an ambulance to the scene. I won't be showing you all the menus today because that's a bit overkill. We have other things here that you'll see just in a bit. We have a right-click menu for interacting with the scene. We have drawing tools for drawing on the map, which can be very useful when in a teaching setting. We also have the ability to draw on whiteboards. But we don't have time for everything now, so please get in touch if you want to get a more in-depth demo and try it for yourself as well. So the real power in a program like Core, it materializes when our users can generate their own learning content without involving us or anyone else in the process. That's why we have, through careful planning and a quite long-term roadmap, developed the first version of our scenario builder. And the goal of the scenario builder is to let users create their own training with minimal effort. What we aim to do is to deliver an experience that is intuitive, even though the material is quite complex. And that's why we chose to go with a node-based solution that you'll see in just a second, because this allows you to set up and organize more complex setups, but no need for any scripting. And we think that's important. So first, we should start off with a new project. So let's go back and reset this. Instead of a top-down map, we'll try to do it in one-to-one, so it makes more sense in VR. So what I'll do is I'll go into the environments and I'll scroll down to the tunnel fire environment. I'll load this one. And here we can see everyone has been teleported into this new area with a fire truck and a tunnel. Now, let's say for our scenario that a car has lost control and crashed into the tunnel entrance. So in here we have a full-size car ready for training. This one, the damaged car. So here we go. That's quite different from the ones we've seen, and this one is in 1-to-1 scale, so it looks different than the small ones we used earlier. So I'll just use these gizmos to position this car in a position that makes sense. Like that, maybe a bit forward and down. Okay, let's say we leave it like that. Yeah, and then because we want to make this quite high stakes, we'll add some flames. I'll add those there. So we can see that the car has caught fire. And to raise the stakes even more, we'll also add a human. So we have this avatar of a injured woman that we can put on the ground. And this way we'll give the firefighter a tough choice between what they have to do. So I'll rotate her this way so that when anyone enters here, they can see immediately that they have a burning car and an injured person next to them. So that's it. Let's set up our scenario. So I'll open up the scenario builder and I'll remove the existing one. So I add a new project. I'll call it car crash. And let's create this. So we're jumping right into the node tree here. This is the scenario view. And this is the point of entry, the start node where everything starts up. And what we have to do is create a scenario. And in this case, we want to keep it simple. So we're just going to create a simple flow where it just goes from one scenario and then to the end. But within the scenario, that's where the magic happens. So I'll open this one. And a scenario is a chain of events that happens in order. Again, we have a start node. And here we have to make a state. This is a state node is a collection of the environment and the object in it. So since we already have our scene set up, I'll just click save, and that's saved. Now let's start off with giving our user some info about what's going on. So I'll make a text box node. The text will then show up in front of the user when they play through the scenario. So I'll just say info in the title, and then I'll say this looks bad. What do you do? After the text box, we will give the user a choice. And they're facing a chaotic situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them the choice of, let's see, put out fire or help woman. And we'll put out fire in this option and help woman in this option. Now these two options will show on screen. And what we want to do now is these two branches, they lead to different states. They make things happen in the scene. So for the first choice, put out the fire, let's go back to the scene and see what's happened. So when you put out the fire, obviously the fire itself will be put out. So I'll take this one and I'll right click and delete this. So well done on that. However, the woman has been left bleeding on the ground. So what I'll do is I'll add some blood actually under her, so you can see that yeah, she's more injured now than she was when we started, and that's enough for our simple case one. So in the scenario builder, I'll make a new state node, and I'll click save, and that's it. Now for the other option. Let's just go back and reset to the original state first with a fire and the woman lying on the ground. And here in the other case, we want to help the woman. So in this case, I'll have to remove her, unfortunately. And we'll add in instead that woman in perfectly good shape. So I'll add her standing here and I'll rotate her around. And this could be a more custom-made animation to fit the moment, but for the moment she'll just be standing there. However, since you now didn't put out the fire and you spent the time on helping this woman instead, I'm going to duplicate this fire a few times. So now this car is doing really badly. So hopefully this shows that we've raised the stakes. Back to the scenario builder. Down to our option, help woman, a new state, I'll save, and then that's it. So the last thing we have to do is create 2 end nodes just to mark the end of our scenario. And I'll select the transition here, and that's everything. All right. So before we do anything else, let's just delete these things so that we have a bit of a clean slate to start with. And we can see how things are loaded into core as we progress. So what I'll do is I'll open up the scenario player. This is a different menu. You can see here it has registered that there's a scenario active in the session. So I'll click Start Scenario, and this loads in our initial state. And now what we can do is our users are faced with the choice of there you go. Our users are faced with a text box that we made first. So here we have some info to get us up to speed what's happening. Here I'll just click continue, and here's our option: put out the fire or help the woman. These options are shared for all the users in the session. So right now anyone can click on these buttons and select an option. I'll do it in this case, and that's because the whole session and the whole setup is shared. These options are also shared. Later we'll add even more options, so you can have like a poll, so everyone gets their say in the decision. In this case, let's help the woman. So she's okay, but the car is not doing okay at all. In the scenario player, we now see that we have reached the end. So nothing more is going to happen here. If I click next here, we get this little end screen where we can give the user some feedback, whether they got to a good ending or a bad ending, for example. We can evaluate some of their progress if there are any variables we want to track along the way. But for our very simple scenario, that's it. And yeah, I'll give you the screen back, Bjørn Morten. As you can tell from this little demonstration, I'm no firefighter at all, but that's kind of the point, right? The goal of CORE is to let us deal with the framework and the program and making VR training approachable. But then we leave you, the experts, to deliver the training in your field. And we have a lot of faith in this approach because we've seen what our customers and our partners have been able to do so far. And I hope that you also see the potential in what you can build with CORE. I'll be here for questions later, but right now I'll just give the word back to Bjørn Morten.
Thank you, Ole, for a very good demonstration. And I just want to emphasize that anything or any 3D object or any environment can be modeled. So this framework is going to work no matter what you want to train for. And then I'll get back to my presentation here. Perfect, there we are. Let me know if you can't see it. Yes, we are showing you the new UI and the new features, and of course we'll be happy to have a sit down with you and demonstrate it more in detail. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll give you a more thorough walkthrough. And of course, if you want, you can also try this solution for yourself. So we'll give you a demo account for a limited amount of time. Next up, we have worked with our help resources. We know that going forward now, there's a lot of more possibilities in the platform, and therefore we also believe that we need to have a good knowledge base where you can have a look if you have any questions or are stuck at some point in the scenario builder or whatever. And please know that you can always call me, but check this out. Check this out first. And in its current form, it is based around the platform itself and how to use Fynd CORE and let's say the technical aspects. But as we move forward, we will expand this on information regarding practical use of XR. You'll find inspiration, use cases, and for instance, we will do an article about practical information on how to set up a lecture with XR. What kind of room do you need? How many people should participate? And tips and tricks like that. And also how to integrate XR in your training in the best way possible, because many things are well suited for training in VR or AR, but other things just simply aren't. And I think it's important that we make sure to share information with you guys on how to succeed with the platform and the technology. And the guides are very simple step-by-step guides on how to do things. So I think that the team has done a great job here. So you can always pop by our webpage and check this out if you have any questions. And then again, as the commercial officer, I'm obliged to talk about the distribution, of course. So I hope you are ready for just, I think, 25 corporate slides now before we end the session. I won't do that, but we have spent a lot of time on how to distribute XR content, and I'm not necessarily talking about sales or selling the content that you build in Core. You will be able to do that as well, but I think that the same here goes for IT administrators in large organizations or universities, for instance. We strongly believe that our users will generate a lot of fantastic content, and this content can be shared if you choose to do so, of course. Some of you want to offer it to your customers. Others might be interested in distributing it to other faculties or departments. But technically speaking, for us, it's pretty much the same. So therefore, our great backend developers has made a solution that has the working title Partner Backend. And that would allow you to distribute the content as you wish. So you can set up or revoke access to predefined content and applications. And when you give access, it will be available right away. I'm not sure if we have mentioned it today, but all the assets in Core is stored in the cloud. And basically what this means is that if I open a scenario that I have never opened before, we'll just download the necessary 3D models. And this way, I don't have to download a new application every time someone wants to change something in the training solutions. So let's say that Ole decided that the fire on the car in the tunnel was too small, and he changed it with a larger fire. Traditionally, you would have to download a new application and do the whole installation process all over again. But with our system, it will just happen automatically. So we believe that this is a huge strength for the platform and very useful for IT administration in large organizations. So we won't do a demo of this solution today. We can again, please feel free to contact me if you want to have a closer look. But I'll show you a quick screenshot. So you see here that it's easy to set up new accounts and to give access to existing content. So a very basic UI for now, but it does the job, and that's the most important thing, I think. Okay, so even though we have launched today, we're not finished, of course, with the platform. This is ongoing work for many years to come, we hope. And Christine will give you a little teaser on what's next, what we are working on, and hopefully we'll have a new event like this sometime in the beginning of next year. So again, Christine, take it away.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the demonstration, Ole. That was awesome. So this fall, we're developing the scenario builder that Ole showed you towards a more complete system where users can set up and edit their own procedures with no programming skills required. Everything should be covered in the knowledge base with all the information needed to set up complex scenarios with nothing but a normal laptop. So this next big feature for Fynd CORE will be here at the beginning of next year. And as you can see on the slide, we've planned for a large number of functionalities to be implemented. One of our challenges now is prioritizing and starting to test these out. And we would love to hear from you, everyone, to get some feedback going forward with all these different approaches. Another awesome thing that we'll be doing is to go full circle and add support for the Magic Leap, the augmented reality glasses, to give users the full benefit of their training by keeping the knowledge fresh in the field with a user manual on their head or in their hand through mobile augmented reality. So those are some of the things that we are working on. And we are very much looking forward to hearing your feedback once you've had a chance to test.
Thank you very much for joining us, and I really hope that we'll be talking in the near future, and that a lot of you will would like to test the solution and try it for yourself, and give us feedback so we can get even better. Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Thank you.